Hey guys, we are back again with our partners over at Fanatics Sportsbook and talking Fan Cash. Most sportsbooks, well, their rewards are just fluff, but Fan Cash is the ultimate sports currency. When you bet with Fanatics Sportsbook, you get up to 10% Fan Cash back on your wagers, win or lose. Did we mention that they are giving away millions in Fan Cash this year and that you can use that Fan Cash on anything in the Fanatics universe? Go check it out yourself and download the app today. Fanatics Sportsbook. Winning hits different here. Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See Fanatics Sportsbook app. Welcome to the Knicks Film School Postgame Show presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. We did it, Joe. We made it through another preseason. Another slate of fake basketball is done. Seems like the Knicks came out of it no worse for the wear, although there were obviously several key Knicks missing tonight. We'll talk about that in a second. But, every preseason, I think, kind of takes on a different feel. There was certainly a lot of curiosity and a lot of interest in this particular preseason because obviously new coach, new style of play. And yet by the end of these 5 games, I think I would sum up the feelings of Knicks Nation at this point of like, all right, let's get on with it. We know what the goals are this season. We know what's at stake. We know what is expected of this team. So could we just let the real games begin already? And begin they will in just a few days. Wednesday, opening night, of course, against Cleveland Cavaliers. But before that, the Knicks did need to take care of some business tonight against the Charlotte Hornets, which they did. They won, if that sort of thing matters to you, 113-108. So let's talk about what we saw tonight. And as we do that, let's try to put a little bit of a cap. We'll do a little bit of a summation on the preseason as a whole. But let's start with tonight, because I actually thought that there was some stuff to dig into tonight and a couple of juicy things. So we start obviously with who was out of this game. No Josh Hart, who ended the preseason playing all of 7 minutes of basketball. You heard Alan Hahn come on the Knicks Film School pod with me. When did that episode drop? Yesterday, I guess, or today. Talking about, and it's funny, I brought up the topic of Sixth Man of the Year, and the first words out of his mouth to Jordan Clarkson, which I think that prediction, the way it's looking right now, that may age well. But he talked about Josh and how with the health, between the finger and obviously this back thing, so look, opening night's still several days away. Josh is a gamer. I have a funny feeling Josh will not want to miss opening night, but you never know. We haven't seen him play in a game. So he was out. And then Karl-Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, they seem to be dealing with minor injuries. I don't think anybody's terribly concerned about either of them. And then Mitchell Robinson, in what is probably the most interesting injury or interesting holdout. I won't say injury because according to Mike Brown, it's not an injury. This is part of his management plan. What that management plan exactly is going to be moving forward, we'll see. But it seems like it's going to involve, not putting the pedal to the metal, at least not during the regular season. So the Knicks were without 4 of their top 6 players tonight. And I think with that news, uttered earlier today by Brown, there was a lot of curiosity as to who he would go with. And I remember thinking, all right, well, maybe he'll try to keep the bench as is and just put a bunch of third stringers or lesser players or whatever in the starting lineup. And he kind of did that in starting Trey Jemison III and Mohamed Diawara, who are two players on two-way spots that certainly don't expect to be a part of the next rotation. But he also started Jordan Clarkson as opposed to, say, Landry Shamet, which I thought was interesting in the sense that, well, I guess from two perspectives. From the perspective of Clarkson, I would assume that Mike Brown wanted to get a little bit of a longer look at Jordan Clarkson playing with Jaylen Brunson, and what might that portend for the team moving forward as far as who is his first guy off the bench or who is the bench player that maybe is going to play the most minutes or at the very least the most minutes with Jaylen Brunson. So I thought, okay, interesting. And then Landry Shamet ended up getting time with the bench, and we'll talk about his game because he had, I mean, the competition for the last roster spot pretty much locked up at this point, but we'll get into that again in a little bit. So, how did they look? How did they play? I thought the Knicks looked really good tonight. On offense in particular, yeah, they were a little sloppy, but I think you saw a team that was giving it something resembling a regular season level of seriousness and intensity on the offensive end. I think I've gone back and forth this preseason thinking whether the offense is ahead of the defense or the defense is ahead of the offense. I think tonight, pretty clear to say the offense was ahead of the defense. But you know what? That could change in a hurry. But as far as specifics of tonight, I don't know how you start anywhere other than with Jaylen Brunson. Jaylen Brunson, who we have really not seen a ton of in this preseason. And when we've seen him, it's been like little spurts of like Jaylen Brunson as we are used to seeing. Well, tonight you got the full Jaylen Brunson. And my goodness, it never gets old watching this guy play basketball and knowing that he is wearing the uniform of the team that you root for and not some other team. It's just a delight. It was a delight 3 years ago when he came here. It was a delight 2 years ago when the team became a contender. It was a delight last year when the team damn near made the finals. And it was a delight tonight in a game that didn't mean anything at all and came against a team that's probably not going to be very good, but it didn't matter. Watching Jaylen Brunson go out there and be Jaylen Brunson and just look like Jaylen Brunson, act like Jaylen Brunson, it's just the absolute best. Finished tonight with 31 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds, like a typical Jaylen Brunson stat line. There was one number. I mean, shot. I think maybe he was tiring towards the end because he started out shooting it really well. He was 5 of 11 in the first quarter, and he was 7 of 15 at half. I had 20 points. Ended up 12 of 25. Missed a couple late that he usually makes, but he's working his way into regular season form. He'll be there by next week, I trust. The most interesting number for Jaylen Brunson, by far, to me, is the number of threes. 12 3-pointers attempted for Jaylen Brunson, made 5 of them. That's signed for 5 for 12 most nights. I mean, it's not great, but it's fine. It's the 5 I don't really care about as much as the 12. He put up 12 3-pointers in 33 minutes, including 8 threes in the first quarter. So I should have looked this up ahead of time. I didn't. I'm going to guess that Jaylen Brunson attempted at least 12 threes in a game once last season, maybe twice. Let's see how close I could get. He did it once last season. It was in an overtime, the overtime loss to Boston, and he played 38 and a half minutes in that game. And the season before that, 23-24 season, I'm going to guess there was in one other game, maybe the Phoenix game, that he put up 12 threes 4 times the previous season. So the fact that, and one of those was an overtime game. So the fact that he put up 12 threes tonight, I don't think that was an accident. Nor do I think it was an accident that the Knicks as a team, they ended up only how far we've come, only only attempting 48 3-pointers. The Knicks were 11 for 30 from three at the half, and then they started taking a little bit fewer threes as the game went on. But at halftime of this game, they were on pace for 60 3-point field goal attempts. Look, preseason across the NBA is filled with a lot of talk from every team about a lot of the same things. I don't know of a team in the NBA that doesn't talk about wanting to put up more threes because it's the age we live in. It feels like the Knicks are backing up their talk with how they are firing away. I mean, I noted at halftime, 7 of the 10 players that saw the court put up multiple threes. The only ones that didn't were the 2 centers that played, Jemison and Huckporty, who don't shoot threes. And then Tyler Kolek only put up 1 3, but he only played for 6 minutes. So this team is going to shoot. They're going to shoot it a lot. They probably won't shoot it as high a percentage as last year, but that's fine from three because they were actually a very good 3-point percentage team last year. They just didn't put up nearly enough shots. They're going to put up enough threes this year. What are they going to be in terms of 3-point frequency league wide? You know, top 10 would be great. Top half of the league is a must. I'd like to see top 10 though, and early indications are we might get there. So that's great. As far as other regulars who played tonight, I actually like the look of Jordan Clarkson and Jaylen Brunson playing together. I think I'm very curious what those two guys do together on the floor this year, because Jordan Clarkson, look, we've already talked a lot about Jordan Clarkson in the preseason, leaves some things to be desired, in some ways. If he is not even the most talented shot maker in your backcourt, which he's not obviously going to be when he's on the floor with Jaylen Brunson, and he can benefit from Jaylen Brunson's gravity and mere presence. I mean, when's the last time Jordan Clarkson has played with a offensive player the likes of, like, similar to Jaylen Brunson? I mean, he was with Donovan Mitchell in Utah for a while. That's really it. You know, it's been a hot minute. So I thought it was interesting again that Brown played those two together. I thought Mikal Bridges looked very good. Didn't make a ton of threes tonight. Attempted 8. Again, you love to see the attempts from deep from Mikal Bridges. 7 of 16 overall, which means he was 5 of 8 from 2. I thought Mikal looked good. Like, all three of those guys I thought looked good. And then off the bench, in terms of, again, guys that we expect to be part of the regular rotation, Deuce McBride making some really nice plays. He had a fantastic anticipation steal in the first half, and then arguably the play of the game, another steal by Deuce that ended in a Mikal Bridges dunk in the second half. So really nice game from Deuce. Ariel Huckporty, some nice moments, some maybe not nice moments. Here's one thing I did note with interest tonight watching. We did not get 1 minute, not one single solitary second of Gershon Yabusele. Gershon. Did I say Huckporty? I meant Gershon Yabusele. Gershon Yabusele, I'm talking about now. Gershon Yabusele at the 5. Gershon Yabusele played exclusively at the 4 tonight after what was not a great defensive performance from him or from the team when he was playing center against the Washington Wizards earlier this week. So, I think the fact that Brown tonight could have either started Yabo with the 5. He could have played Yabo with the 5 off the bench. He could have started Huck. He didn't do that, which, again, I think tells you a lot about how he is going to want to play this year. Yeah, Cat's going to play the 5 some, but I would not expect any super small lineups. I would, again, be frankly surprised if we saw much of Yabusele at the 5, if anything. So yeah, that's him. And now we can get into some of the guys who are maybe not going to be part of the regular rotation, but I thought had notable moments anyway. So where should we start here? I want to start with Trey Jemison III. Trey Jemison III is a guy. This is his 5th team in, I think, 2 years. I'm fairly certain he's been in the league for 2 years as his 5th team. Guy, he was a plus 20. He was tied for team lead with Deuce in 26 minutes. I get he hasn't caught on yet. He's not an NBA rotation player. I understand that. I think that's a guy that the Knicks are going to like having on their team, in their organization. They have him locked up on a two-way. That's great. And I was thinking to myself as I was kind of processing the roster and how they were going to play this year, earlier in the week, if Mitch goes down, if this is how Brown wants to play with either Cat at the 5 or like a traditional rim protector at the 5, are they a little light, in the 5? And I wonder with Hukporti, who we're going to get to in a second, and then Jamison, who would essentially be their fourth center, right? Behind Mitch, Cat, and Hukporti. Like, I wonder if they're comfortable with him as their fourth center. That's just something, again, as I've watched him over the preseason and just am continually impressed by him. Just something to think about. A really nice game tonight. Not to be outdone, Mohamed Diawara getting the surprise start of all surprise starts. Super young player, super raw player, but had a couple of nice moments. So that was great to see from Diawara as well. And then off the bench, I mentioned Hukporti before. Again, Hukporti, nice game. Didn't do a whole lot, but you heard Monica McNutt tout Hukporti on NBA Takedown earlier this week. And I think you saw why. I would expect to see a lot of Huck this year. I wrote in the Knicks Film School newsletter this morning. One of my predictions is that Hukporti is going to play at least the 10th most minutes on the team. I don't even think that's a hot take. And I think he looks ready for it. He looks ready to be, I don't know if he's going to be the 10th man. I think the next guy we're going to talk about probably gets that designation, but still, I thought Ariel Hukporti looked good. And then last two guys, Shamet, again, solidified. He's going to make the team. 3 of 5 from deep in this one. He played 20 minutes, which is 20 minutes more than Garrison Matthews played. So if there was any doubt, it seems like, as to whether it was going to be, I'm sorry, I got distracted for a second because I'm pretty sure this is David Fizdale on my, is this David Fizdale on my television? No, that's not David Fizdale. Guy looks very similar to David Fizdale. And I read recently that David Fizdale is going to be on some kind of a show that they're doing for basketball this year. Thought that was him. Anyway, yeah, Matthews didn't play. So it seems like Shamet's going to get the spot. Now, could they still make a Dadier trade just to get Shamet and Matthews on the roster? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. And then Kolek. Some nice minutes. I thought he followed up his Washington effort well. I thought he had a couple of really nice passes like he always does. I thought he did have a really nice steal in the open court to give his team another chance at a shot. Unfortunately, Clarkson missed 3. Again, I'm like this notion that the quote unquote backup point guard, meaning not Deuce, not Clarkson, the notion that player is going to play any minutes if everybody's healthy, or even any minutes if like all of the non-centers are healthy. So basically, if Mitch is out, well, I don't think that impacts anything because then just Hukporti's going to step up and you'll still play Cat at the backup 5. So again, we are talking here essentially about the 11th man. Unless you think Shamet is the 11th man, or Huck's the 11th man, Shamet's the 10th man. My point is that I can't get worked up over the Brogdon retirement, and now Kolek's gonna have to step up and potentially play. Yeah, if Brunson's hurt, or maybe if another guard is hurt, Kolek's gonna have to step up and play minutes. I don't know. I think the kid deserves a shot. And from what we've seen from him the last couple games, I think it's been fine. And then look, if you need to address the situation later in the year, you can. The only reason why it would be a significant issue is if Brunson went down for an extended period of time. And guess what? If Brunson goes down for an extended period of time, then you got a lot bigger issues on your hand than Tyler Kolek. So that's pretty much everybody that played tonight. I thought, again, offensively, they looked good. I thought they moved the ball around well. I thought the pace was really good. it felt watching it like we were watching a better version of offense than we were accustomed to watching last year. As far as Brunson in particular, it did not feel like he was working as hard to get his shots as we were accustomed to seeing last year. That is David Fizdale. This man grew a beard. There's a lot of gray in his beard. Man, he's aged. Okay. Sorry, I'm just very distracted. What is this program? He's talking to this person. Okay. I have to just probably turn off my TV. So yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, Brunson, easier shots, didn't have to work as hard, so that's good. And like in general, it didn't seem like anybody was working terribly hard for their shots. So that's all good news. Defensively, saw some confusion, but you also saw some switching, which I thought was nice. It seems like they are, you know what it feels like? There's definitely, don't get me wrong, there were some mistakes. There were a lot of mistakes at times. But it doesn't seem like they're running around with like chickens with their heads cut off as much as maybe it felt like we were accustomed to seeing at times last year. I don't know if that's just my perception. I'd love to go back and rewatch it, but that's, to me, seeing them maybe switch a little bit more liberally. I think that can only be a good thing, especially if you work on it throughout the entirety of the season. And I liked that they were getting pretty aggressive in passing lanes. Like the Knicks had 11 steals tonight. Shout out to Ben Kim Gervey. He's always looking at the steal numbers, because when they steal a lot of passes, it usually results in wins. And tonight, again, 11 steals for the Knicks. The Charlotte Hornets committed 21 total turnovers. The Knicks scored 26 points off of those 21 turnovers. The Hornets scored a ton of points off of 31 points off of 16 Knicks turnovers. So again, offense, work in progress. Some of the passes that the Knicks threw that turned into turnovers for the Hornets were, but you're going to get that. You're going to get that in a new offense. You're going to get that in an offense that's really trying to push the pace. I like it, though. I think it's a worthwhile endeavor. And again, you have the next 82 games. Not to say that the regular season doesn't count, because it does. But you have the next 82 games to really figure this stuff out and try to fine tune this thing and get it to the point where, it becomes second nature. So that's that. Trying to see if there's anything else that I wanted to note. Again, the passing in the first half, there were 8 players with at least 1 assist. I like that. Yeah, that's really, the minutes. You want to talk about the minutes a little bit? It felt like Tibbs was coaching this game for a little bit, keeping Brunson in late in the fourth quarter and putting him back in, obviously a preseason game. But you look at the minute totals, 33 minutes for Bridges, 34 minutes for Brunson. Like those numbers, that it seems like that's what they might be over the course of the season. Which is, again, not trying to throw any shade anywhere, but like anybody out there predicting a 10-man rotation, I'm sorry, where are the minutes coming from? Because if you think your Jaylen Brunsons and Karl-Anthony Townses and Mikal Bridges and OG Anunobys of the world are going to be sitting here playing 28 to 30 minutes or 31 minutes or something, or even like 32 minutes, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. These guys are going to play. They're not going to play as much as they did under Tibbs, but they're going to play. So, and the bench guys like Clarkson, Yabusele, they brought these guys in for a reason. They're going to play minutes. I think it's going to be a 9-man rotation when everybody's healthy. And then if someone's not healthy, then maybe we mix it up from there. Okay. I think that's all as far as monologue goes. So let us move on to a couple words from some of our friends right after I mute myself and blow my nose very quickly. All right. Get that out of the way. All right. What are we doing first, Mark? You surprised me. Cornbread. Of course we're doing cornbread first. Why would we do anything other than cornbread? Hey, if life's been a little crazy lately, one thing that can help you unwind, well, it's one thing that helps me unwind. It is Cornbread Hemp's CBD gummies. Let me tell you about crazy life. My daughter, so we recently moved here out back to Long Island, and a friend of hers from Brooklyn invited her to sleep over tonight. So what did me being a good dad do? Got my ass on the train with her, took the train to Brooklyn, Ubered to where her friend's apartment is, dropped her off, and then I ran my little ass back to the train at Atlantic Terminal so I can make it back here in time for the start of this game. Shout out, by the way, to the nice gentleman I met on the train. I didn't catch his name, but very nice guy. And let me tell you, that crazy couple of hours. Now we're going to do this, write a little newsletter. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are going to be exactly the thing I need to relieve some of that stress and help me get a good night's sleep tonight, because after the week that I have had, let me tell you, I need it. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are formulated to help relieve discomfort, stress, and sleeplessness. And best of all products are third-party lab tested and USDA organic to ensure safety and purity. Right now, Knicks Film School listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/KFS and use code KFS at checkout. That is cornbreadhemp.com/KFS and use code KFS at checkout. All right. And next up, our friends at Fanatics. What's up, Fanatics Sportsbook? How you doing? What do we got here? We got $52 in fan cash. That's nice. I like that. Love to see them close out the preseason with a win. Here's $52 in fan cash for how many years it's been since this franchise won a title. Fanatics Sportsbook, I didn't need that. That was unnecessary. Use part of it towards a future bet that the drought ends this year. Plus 900. Cheers to an exciting season from KFS. Or with KFS, excuse me. You know what? I saw, shout out to Worldwide Wob. I saw a clip that he posted of Wemby turning what should have been a baseline, a tough baseline fadeaway jumper into a freaking layup at the rim. And I thought to myself, my Lord, the Knicks better win it this year, because I don't know if anybody's going to be doing much winning other than that dude for the foreseeable future. Once he gets his legs under him and once some of these kids on the Spurs grow up a little bit. Anyway, as a reminder to everybody, Fan Cash, if you don't know what it is, it's the ultimate sports currency because it gives you access to everything in the Fanatics universe. You could use it on awesome stuff like exclusive apparel, collectibles, tickets. It's real value for your fandom, so don't settle. And when you bet with Fanatics Sportsbook, you get up to 10% fan cash back on your wager, win or lose. That's nice. Go check it out yourself and download the app today. Fanatics Sportsbook, winning hits different here. Must be 21 or over. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777. Massachusetts, call 800-327-5050. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Maryland, visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Not available in all states. Terms apply. See the Fanatics Sportsbook app. Okay. That's it. What was I going to look up? I just opened a tab on my browser. Oh, that's what I was going to look. Where did the Knicks finish in the preseason in 3-point attempts per game? Hold on. I know we got some super chats, but I just want to see this. Threes per game, 43.5. Oh, no, that doesn't even include tonight. So this number is going to be a little bit higher. So it's going to be like 45-ish per game. That they're going to be they're definitely going to be top 10 in threes per game in the preseason. Might even be close to top 8. That's what you want, right? That's good stuff. And they haven't even hit really much of anything yet. They're 3rd from the bottom going into tonight. They're 3rd from the bottom in 3-point percentage, and yet it's been pretty good even so. Okay, got a couple super chats. A Friday against the Charlotte Hornets, in which 4 out of 6 of the top players didn't play. I commend everyone who super chatted, is watching. is listening. You guys give me life. Let me tell you. Christopher Halecki, what's going on, man? I think I saw you sent me an email that I have not gotten a chance to read because it's been a crazy day. Well, I'm ready. Go Knicks. I'm ready to, man. I'm ready to. I'm already thinking about. I always try to do like set the stage sort of newsletter for the Knicks Film School newsletter on Substack. Before the season starts, and I've written a couple of like season preview-ish pieces, but I'm excited to write Monday's newsletter. To really maybe it'll be Monday, or maybe I should hold it off until Wednesday. I don't know. I gotta think about it. But at some point early next week, I kind of want to write, that the big overarching look at what this season is, and what it's like to be a Knicks fan right now, and how the journey has been to get here. It's just, man, it's crazy. Listening to I was listening to Zach Lowe and Steve Nash on Zach's pod today, and they both picked the Knicks to go to the championship, to go to the finals. It's like so many people are picking the Knicks to go to the finals, which actually, I mean, as it should worry every Knicks fan. Worries me because I don't know if the Cavs are much into bulletin board material, but like the fact that a lot of people are picking the Knicks is I don't know. I don't know how the Cavs feel about that. It's just wild. It's just wild that we're here, and it's been certainly an interesting journey, but has not been linear in any sense. Like, so many players have come and gone. Again, the only guy who was here when Leon Rose took over is only one dude, and it's Mitch. Everybody else is new. So quite a journey, but this season feels one way or another like the culmination of that journey. Will it actually be? Will it feel that way after it's done? I don't know. We'll find out. But all right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate you, man. Silk Sutton, what's going on, Silk? Dottier is gone. Only guaranteed non-starter, not to play tonight. It's funny. I wrote Dottier. Actually, did I write his name down? Maybe I forgot to write his name down. What does that tell you? I was thinking it in the fourth quarter, or maybe when I was on the app. Shout out to chatnix.com. I haven't been plugging that as much the last few days because we haven't had really games, and that's going to be mostly a game in-game feature, because we'll go over there and chat about the Knicks during the game. Was chatting in there anyway tonight, so everybody go download Chatnix, the app. And somebody we're talking about Dottier, and I'm not surprised in the least. I'm not surprised in the least for a few reasons. I'm not surprised because of how Dottier has looked in the preseason. I'm not surprised because Mike Brown all but told you that he was not going to be a member of the rotation this year. I'm not surprised because when I spoke to James Edwards III on this podcast a couple weeks ago, he was like, yeah, I think the question is going to come down to, do the Knicks think that Dottier can help them win games this year? And the answer pretty clearly was no. So everything has been lining up towards like Dottier was going to be the one to go, and then Malcolm Brogdon retired. So, think about what it says about where Dottier is at right now, that in what Mike Brown called a true dress rehearsal game, Mohamed Diawara, who was the 50 whatever pick in the draft this past year and has been described by everybody as just a raw lump of clay, that dude got the start over Bokum Dottier. Think about that. you want to tell me, oh, well, they've already seen a lot of Dottie in the preseason. Like, what more do they need to see? All right, maybe that's fine. I think Brown was playing his 10 best available players tonight, and that did not include Pacome Dottie. So now, does it mean he's gone? If I thought anybody was giving them anything decent for him, I think he would be gone, and they would just as soon keep Matthews. But I don't think that's the case. So I would imagine that you will not see a Dottie trade before the season begins. That's a guess, complete guess. I don't know that. Also, it might be nice to keep Dottier's contract around in case you need to build up a little money for a trade before the deadline. Just throwing that out there as well. But look, kid knows what he has to do. Keep working. Hopefully he'll improve. But I do not. I don't think that anybody could watch him this preseason and feel, great about the pick that they expended on him, other than the fact that he was willing to sign for less money and it kept the Knicks under the what was it, second apron last year? One of the aprons, whichever apron they were just barely under last season. That was helped. Okay, thanks, Silk. Jason, what's going on, Jason? Brunson's passing has been very impressive. I love the way he has played, and he doesn't look overtaxed like last season. It's a breath of fresh air. Well, he doesn't look overtaxed because the season hasn't started yet. But yeah, I think his passing has been really good. He had one pass in particular. I think it was to Huck Porty. I clipped it. Hold on. Me and Andrew like jointly discovered the new playback clipping feature today as we were doing the first half on playback. And I got to turn the volume off. And it makes it very easy. So anyway, yeah, I clipped a Brunson possession where he had a nice defensive possession. Again, nice switching between him and Mikal Bridges, and then up the court, pushing it, and then nice dump off to it was to Jameson. It wasn't Doug Porty, it was to Jameson. Who was trailing. So yeah, and that was just one of several. I agree his passing's been good. I was toying around with making a prediction about a Brunson assist number. I just, you could make a lot of great passes in an average game and not rack up a bunch of assists, so that's why I didn't do it. But no, his passings looked really good. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate you, man. Looking forward to a good year. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Captain, certain DNPs were eye-opening. We could assume what's happening tomorrow. Hope Mo can put it together. Love his motor so much. You mean Muhammad Diawara? Yeah. So Garrison Matthews, DNP. I mean, if you're talking about Matthews being cut tomorrow, I think that's probably a safe assumption. I mean, other guys who didn't play, Alex Len. I mean, everybody figured he would be cut. Matt Ryan, everybody figured he would be cut. And then the two-way, unless I'm forgetting a two-way guy, they have Jameson. Actually, no. Oh, that's right. They have 4 two-ways now. I forgot that teams now get to have four two-ways. So, and then, yeah, we talked about Dottie, but I don't, again, I do not think that Dottie is going to get traded before the season because there's no need to. And I don't think there's any value out there for him. And I don't think that they are that desperate to keep, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. Diawara is not on a two-way. I thought Diawara was on a two-way for a second. I mean, Diawara is going to be in Westchester. That'll be interesting. What happens with Diawara, I guess. Well, something to keep an eye on. I still don't expect Dottie to be traded. even though they could give that spot to DOR if they move. Because then if they move Dadier, they could sign Shamet and Matthews and then give Diawara a standard contract on a standard rookie deal. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. I think they're gonna just let Diawara go to Westchester, but we'll see. Okay. Another one from Hush. Currently, I have one eye open on the Sixers because you're worried about them being a good team. I mean, look, wake me when Joel Embiid plays 25 games before the All-Star break. How about that? Not worried about that. Thanks, Hush. All right, we got one more from Kevin. Mr. Danishevsky. Hello, sir. Mikhal's defense looked great tonight. Him and Deuce have nice chemistry. Yeah, they do. JB getting comfy. Kolek has won me over, especially with Brogdon's retirement by Pacome. Yeah, they do have nice chemistry. I mean, the two of them defensively, it makes a lot of sense. And the two of them defensively with OG Anunoby makes a whole lot of sense. You know? So, again, I'm going to reference the recent pod we did with the crossover with Locked On Knicks. And, you know, I think it was someone, I forget, XJ made the prediction of Deuce Deuce closing at least 4 postseason games, I think was his prediction. And, you know, we were kind of dancing around like, all right, who would he close the game over? And I was like, why are we assuming that he closes the game with Cat? Because to me, it would be interesting to see Mitch as the 5, and then Brunson, Deuce, Mikhal, and OG. Because if you're gonna sacrifice the size and you're gonna go with Brunson and McBride, which is a little tough because it leaves you a little small, at least you have your best defensive center. And again, Mitchell Robinson isn't a shooter like Cat is, but he's your only non-spacer in that lineup. Everybody else can and does shoot the ball. So I don't know. I wonder if and when the first time is that we see that closing lineup. I just want to see that lineup. If there's one lineup that I probably am most excited to see the Knicks play this year, I think it might be that one. Brunson, Deuce, Bridges, OG, and Mitch. Which I probably should not say out loud because I was already branded a Cat hater after ranking him as the 13th greatest Knick of the last 25 years of the summer. But whatever. If the shoe fits, right? All right. That's it, everybody, for this edition of the Postgame Show. Don't forget, follow us on your social channels at Knicks Film School. That is SKOOL. You could also follow me. Again, my preseason promise, putting out a lot of social content at JC Macri NBA. Subscribe, of course, on YouTube. Turn on those alerts. We are the Patreon machine is going to be up and running again very soon. We've been kind of slow playing it the last week or so. I'm going to be recording a Patreon mailbag. I will say in the coming days. I think I'm probably going to do a mailbag before the season starts. So if you're not an Knicks Film School patron and you want access to or be able to ask me mailbag questions for a Patreon pod and then get all of DJ and Benji's stuff too, subscribe to that. My newsletter, the Knicks Film School newsletter on Substack, you could subscribe free and you get a newsletter in your inbox every Monday. And then you could bump up to a full subscriber to get it 5 days a week plus weekends. There will be a newsletter going out tomorrow morning about this game. What will I write? I don't know. We'll see. And then, of course, last but not least, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you to Mark on the 1s and 2s tonight. I think I might be able to get to bed before midnight at this rate. This is good. All right. We did it. We're done with the preseason. We got a bunch of content next week. But if you're skipping forward to opening night, there'll be a watch along on the Knicks Film School YouTube, playback, and then, of course, me on the post-game show. I will catch you all then. Have a great weekend.